The big fish, Errol the True Spence, after taking his first L to Terence Bud Crawford, he makes a promise to his baby boy, Errol Jr., and lets him know, don't worry about it, I'm gonna get my get back. And you also have a lot of narratives going around. One narrative is that Derrick James ain't a good trainer. You know, I heard people saying that Errol Spence, he needs to get rid of Derrick James. Derrick James got too much going on now, and he's not the same trainer that he once was because he have too many world-class fighters in his gym that he have to look after, you know. So Derrick James, he also getting a lot of flack for losing to Terence Bud Crawford and Bo Mack in that Bud camp. I've also heard rumors that Errol Spence couldn't see. His torn retina was never fully healed and things like that, which is just a lot of cap, you know. I've heard a lot of excuses. I've heard a lot of nonsense. But at the end of the day, like I said before, Errol Spence, he took his loss like a man. And you could tell, man, he was hurt about it. Who ain't gonna be hurt about taking their first L? Everybody that's any type of competitor, that's in any type of combat sport, they feel some type of way about taking their first L, especially when you make it to the highest degree of an Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. You don't want to take no L to your biggest rival in the sport. Now, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford being a rival don't mean that they have beef. It just means that they competitive rivals, you know. Bud has always wanted them straps that Errol Spence got, and Errol Spence, he probably wanted the accolades that Bud Crawford had in another weight division. That's why EJ always wanted to be undisputed. So it was a competitive rival, like they always say when they talk about each other. But the fans, they try to make it a Biggie and Tupac beef. You know what I'm talking about? It was never that. But with all that being said, this weekend, Showtime did the epilogue, right? You already seen 2 episodes of All Access between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. Now, they had their last episode last night, and man, it was great to see, man. Like I said, for a lot of people, it was probably heartbreaking to see Errol Spence walking back, you know, after the fight, messed up, all bruised up. He had to confront his family like a man, you know. And his son that's in the gym with him every day, that's seeing him put in the work. His son was there looking at him, and you know, he probably wondering, why is my daddy's face like that? But he don't understand because he's only like 2 years old, so he don't understand what's going on. But it hurt Errol Spence to have to look at his kids like that, and he told his son, hey man, no matter what, we gonna go get this ish back. You know what I'm talking about? Don't worry about it, son. I'm going to go get it back. Me and you, we going to get back in the gym, and we going to put in this work to go get this shit back. And man, like I said, it was heartbreaking to see because this is what these fighters have to go through. You know, we only see the outside. We only see them get in the ring. We see little clips here and there, but we don't get to see these fighters battered and bruised and have to face their kids and their kids crying, wondering why they look like that. You know what I'm talking about? So that's why I say, while all these dudes is trolling up on the comments on the internet, making fun of fighters and all of that, I get it. But at some point, you know what I'm saying, you got to look at yourself and realize that you could never make it as far as they did in nothing. These dudes that's all up under my comments, all up under these fighters' comments, you know, talking shit every chance they get, ain't never got nothing positive to say. What have you done in life? So remember that next time. What have you done in life? And yeah, we all get on fighters and call certain fighters trash and all of that. But at the end of the day, you know, we also got to stop to think about what they have to go through to get to that highest level. What does a Terence Bud Crawford got to go through to get to the level that he's on? What does a Errol Spence have to go through to get to the level that he's on? All of the sacrifices that they have to make, not only personally, but for their family, you know? So that's what we got to see in the Showtime epilogue, and it just lets you, you know, have a different type of respect for fighters. I've always had it, but I'm saying for people that don't get to see the behind the scenes, for people that don't know what they go through behind the scenes. And so, with all that being said, you got a lot of people saying that, oh, Errol Spence, he don't want to run it back with Terence Crawford. He better sit down somewhere. You can't tell that man that after one loss. You even got people saying that he needs to retire. Why is it today that every time a lot of you weird-ass fans, and I'm not talking about all of y'all know the ones that I'm talking about, every time they see a fighter take an L, all of a sudden they need to retire. They signed up for the sport. This is what they signed up for, right? These fighters that make it to this level, they tough, man. They got thick skin. They not just gonna run off and quit and retire the first time they take an L. If they had that type of mindset, they would have never made it as far as they have today. You don't think that Errol Spence took an L before in the amateurs? You don't think that Terence Crawford took an L before? You don't think that Errol Spence has taken several L's outside of the boxing ring? If he listened to y'all, he would have never made it this far. You feel me? So, man, that man, he gonna go get his get back, win, lose, or draw. Yes, he should try to go get his get back. You don't just lay down after a man beats you and just say, oh, well, you know what? He's better than me. No. Get in the gym, go back to the drawing board, work on the mistakes that you made, tighten up, study the film, and get in there and at least try to get your get back. That's all we can ask for. Don't nobody know the outcome. Bud don't know the outcome. Errol Spence don't know the outcome. But I guarantee you, both of them gonna get in the gym, and Bud, he gonna try to repeat what he did the first fight, and Errol Spence is gonna try to fix his mistakes and prove everybody wrong. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he been doing his whole life, is proving everybody wrong. So my thing to Errol Spence is, if you healthy, you know what I'm saying? If you all the way healthy, yeah, go get your get back. Don't listen to none of this bullshit that people saying. You know what I'm talking about? Because you the one that got to get in that ring. And so, yeah, man, he promised his family, he promised his son, if I don't do nothing else, I'm going to go get back in that ring and I'm going to get my get back. And like Errol Spence said, man, in that press conference, he said, yeah, we gonna run it back. And hopefully it's at 154 pounds. And one thing I can guarantee you is the fight will be way more competitive than it was this time. And that's one thing I respect about EJ. He didn't get up there and he didn't make no excuses. He didn't guarantee people that, oh, well, it was because I was weight drained. And so when we fight at 154, I'm going to whoop his ass. I'm going to get the win. I guarantee you that. No, he just said, I guarantee you that I'm going to be a lot more competitive than I was. And so, man, will he win? I don't know. But I can tell you this. He going to go get his get back. He going to go try to get his get back. Win, lose, or draw. And we got to respect that, right? If you're a real man, you're going to respect that. And that's just what it is, man. So, man, that epilogue, man, like I said, it was heart-wrenching to see. But all these fighters, they go through it. It is what it is. Everybody can't end up like Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, undefeated. Shout out to Bud Crawford. Shout out to Errol Spence, man, for getting in there and showing out and putting on. Make sure that y'all hit my like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already a sub to my channel. I appreciate y'all for watching, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again, and I'm gone.